Good morning. Happy Monday, if Monday feels any different than Sunday and Saturday and Friday. To you. So hopefully everyone saw I posted either yesterday or this morning, or remembers back to my hint at it, that we would be using a stick today. Good morning, Christina. I think there's a few more there, but maybe not everyone's going to show their face. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Catherine. Okay, so a stick, a broom handle. When I said stick, maybe I should have been, obviously I think I said broom handle so you would get a sense of the height. This one goes to about my chin, just so that we have lots of room for the arms to reach out. A hockey stick is definitely an option. Okay, so sunshiny morning. I'm actually gonna have you start lying down. So hopefully that feels okay for you. Come down onto your mat or your floor. Hi, Tracy. Anywhere. And Jane. Awesome. Okay, so I'll just wait a second here, because I know that there was a few gonna pop on. We're gonna start on the floor in Shavasana. So make your way down, but depending on where you are in your home or your space, you can come right down onto, I didn't mention any other props, but if you wanted just a little extra cushion under your head or your hips, we won't be here too long. Or even under your knees, if lying flat on your back is not super comfortable with your legs straight out, then constructive resting, so knees bent, feet planted. Any of those options work. I just want you to come into a place of stillness. And definitely if you really are just not feeling like coming down to the floor, you can do whatever you wish and you can stay seated. You could even come to standing, but I kind of wanted to feel the sense of sinking into the floor and into gravity this morning. So make your way there. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab my water. Alrighty. Okay, so just find your comfortable position down onto the floor. So I'm going to just kind of speak and assume as if you have come to lying down on your back, allowing your hands and your arms to move into any place that feels comfortable for you. It can be on the body, beside your body. Maybe even noticing if the palms are up or down. There's nothing really to that, then whatever you want to perceive of that, but sometimes it's nice to just take a little observation of how you've chosen to land. And can you make the choice to perhaps land a little more heavy into the space beneath you? Just take a moment scanning the back body or all the parts of the body that are connected to the space beneath you. Just scan through and feel how they touch the surface. Is there a strong sensation in that touch point, or is it just a simple observation? And if you could observe or describe, even in one word, a feeling tone to your body. Does it feel heavy and landed and grounded and relaxed, or is there some anticipatory sort of feeling of moving or this sense of moving into the next place? Can you be a little more here? And how does that feel for you? And I didn't cue to keep the eyes open or closed, but just notice where you automatically went with that. And can you get a sense of this connection to your inner space? And notice, can you feel that a little more intimately when your eyes are closed, or does it feel a little more available with your eyes open? I was discussing with a few other practitioners this weekend about the word embodied. We were trying to come up with a definition to the word embodied. So if you could just take a moment and just kind of experience what it would mean or feel like for you to be in body. And I'm not sure there's an exact correct answer for this, but maybe we can play around with this idea if the eyes are open, just understanding and looking around even to your relationship to the space around you. Noticing the walls around you, maybe the ceiling above you. And then how does the space that you've landed into affect perhaps how you feel, how you land in your body? And you can stay in that place or possibly close the eyes. And maybe you can still visualize the space around you. And maybe we can drop a little bit deeper into the surface beneath the skin. Another element of embodiment, a place of feeling into what is it like to exist within the kind of borders and the boundaries of your skin. Noticing any thoughts or thinking, and how does that affect the internal space, the feeling, sensation in your body. And then again, can you just softly open your eyes if you did have them closed? Again, just looking around to the space. Just soft movements with your eyes, just gazing around. And does that shift or adjust that feeling tone? Where are you in space? Others or things or objects around you? And how does that affect how you feel? Temperature, sensation. And then again, eyes closed, the layer beneath your skin. And does that adjust any of that feeling sensation for you? I don't think that we should take this word embodiment lightly. So if you're feeling a lot or if you're feeling nothing, it's all okay. You're like, wow, this is huge, or maybe this is like, what are we doing? It doesn't really matter. what your experience is. I mean, of course, your experience matters, but it's just more so the observation and the awareness that it is really about the exact words that you can come up with. This experience of embodiment, understanding how we feel internally in relationship to our external environment, and yet how we feel in relationship to our internal environment. It's pretty complicated, but yet can be so simple. So eyes open or eyes closed, whatever offers you kind of a sense of relaxation, presence. Taking a moment just to observe your breath. Is there a sound to your inhalation and your exhalation? Can this breath be in and out of your nostrils? Is there a temperature to your breath? Can you feel a little more into the expansion and the aliveness of your in-breath? Almost like there's this momentary pause at the expansion of it, at the height of it, or the fullness of it. And then just allow your exhale to naturally land into empty. Notice the sense of release. I was feeling now into this expansion and contraction. So the expansion of the in-breath, just soft, gentle. Notice where it touches your body, where there might even be this momentary pause and this full sense of aliveness. And then there's this exhale, it's kind of drawing into or contraction and moving to a place of empty. And there may even be a gentle, slight pause there. And can you feel this sensation or this temperature, this movement of your breath within the boundaries of your skin, just feeling this expansion and contraction? Fullness and empty. Doesn't seem to be quite different than how we experience life. The more intimate we can understand our own expansion and contraction, especially in relationship to the space and the place and the people around us. Become a little more aware of our needs, our capabilities. And then if it feels as though you're doing the breath, can you just relax it for a moment? Just let your body breathe. Can your mind sort of travel down through the chest and the rib cage and the space of your back and your low belly, but not necessarily with an intention to forcefully bring the breath in and out, but just watch. Trust that your body knows exactly what it needs right now. And just spend another moment or so here, just watching. And just witness and feel yourself kind of this place of arising and falling and expanding and settling. It almost feels as though the inhale might even feel like a reach beyond, and the exhale can feel like a settling into. Letting go of any doing, just witness. take another moment just to scan through the physicality of your body. Maybe your eyes open, sense of wakefulness. How does it feel in your bones and the weight of your body? And has the feeling tone adjusted or changed at all? And then just take your time to move or reach or stretch. We're gonna make our way up. So if you're lying flat down onto your back, just take a moment and do what you need to slowly to just kind of gather a little bit of wakefulness. Rolling, rocking, coming to your side, whatever it is that feels best for you. And then take your time, come on up to standing. So hopefully, one thing I would say, just working with your stick or your pole or your broom handle or whatever it is you have today, is just make sure that you have it either on your mat or a surface where it's not going to slide, so that if you put a little bit of weight into it, it doesn't move away from you, okay? Alrighty, so just take a moment. Bring the stick out in front of you, so just wrapping your hands, palms facing down, maybe a little bit wider than your shoulder here, or than your shoulders are. And just take a moment, come on up overhead, and come down towards your hips. So not too much different really than what we were doing last week. We had a strap or a stretchy band, so the sense of pulling this apart. And then maybe you start to move into this place of extension with the arms behind you. You can adjust your hands. Maybe you reach back and feel a little bit of a stretch to your chest. Just take your time. Just going to explore. I've just been playing with this a little bit lately while out on a walk and things like that. So just how we can, kind of have these little movement snacks throughout our day, regardless of what you're doing. Just grabbing sort of this pretty convenient tool that maybe we have in the house. All right, so coming up with the arms above your head. So they're pretty much parallel with the body here. So take a moment and just kind of come down into your feet. And can you get this sense of reaching up and rooting down and feeling kind of this force of pulling this apart? Just kind of feeling your space between the object that you're holding above you and the surface that supports you. The surface that you're standing on. Feel into the bones of your feet and the muscles that maybe activate down in through your toes and your arches. Notice the curves of your spine. There may be a tendency to kind of arch back in through your spine. Can you draw those rib cage in, send your tailbone down, and just kind of find your vertical space here, reaching up. Then start to move your arms from side to side. So you're just going to allow your spine to stay in the center and just move your arms from side to side. Nice. Then we'll take the body with it and just let yourself move around, feel into your side body, your low back. Noticing that you're not collapsing. So again, kind of similar to last week's movements of this lifting of the rib cage up and off of your pelvis. And pulling that apart between the hands. Nice. And coming down in front of you. All right, so reaching away from you as if moving from the shoulder blades and then drawing them back. So again, probably a similar or a familiar movement for a lot of you. Shoulder blades and shoulders dropping down, but drawing them back. Elbows are straight, just finding the movement in the shoulder blades. Nice. Okay, and then from the front, turn your knuckles down and then turn your knuckles up. So we're moving from the wrists, kind of strengthening into the forearms. Pull that apart while you're doing that. Kind of grip with all of the knuckles and all of the fingers. Nice. Then flip your wrists. Flip your hands so the palms are facing up. Turn the knuckles down. Bring the knuckles up. Again, straight arms. Just strengthening into the forearms. Space between your elbow and your wrist. Probably feeling that. Especially dependent on the weight of the object that you're holding. If you do happen to be ambitious like my mother said she was going to be and carry a hockey stick, you might be feeling that a lot. All right, nice. Then just kind of shake that out. Shaking it out. All right, and then again, pull this up overhead, nice and wide. Can you bend the elbows and bring it behind you? And if it feels like you're doing anything like this with your head and neck, then just coming down a little bit so you don't knock the top of your head, but that you can feel yourself with that tall spine rooted down through the feet. And when the elbows bend, there's this squeeze behind the shoulder blades. And again, pulling between the hands, strong grip here. Notice just what you're doing with your knuckles, direction of your knuckles. And then while you're doing this movement, can you just observe your breath here? Just nice and slow. Our pushing and our pulling muscles, maybe feeling that down the back of your body. So noticing that you're not holding your breath at all or straining. Nice, and then coming down and front. All right, so finding this just at about your pelvis area, your hip bones. Just a little quick review of our hip extension from last week. So taking your right leg behind you, you can touch your toe down and sort of notice that your hips are still pressing forward and your leg is back behind you. And then can you lift that leg? So what you probably are going to feel is your bum, your boot, the muscles of your low back a little bit, but finding length of the low back. So lifting the leg, maybe even just this action of feeling like you're lifting the leg as you root up, and then bring that down. Just do that on your other side. So just to kind of get this experience, get the brain and the body. So touching the toe down, hips forward, long spine, leg is back behind you, and then lifting that leg. So feeling the strength of the glutes and the hips here to lift that leg and then bring that down. All right, so bringing your stick out in front of you. So having one hand on top, one hand underneath, start to walk yourself back. So knees can bend here. Let your head drop down in between and just sort of wiggle around a little bit. So really reaching back with the hips so that you get a long spine and a nice stretch along the sides of your body. So, and you can even do a little bit of pelvic rocking or tilting here. Take a few breaths in stillness. And then coming up to standing. Switch your hands, opposite hand on top. Hips pull back. A couple full breaths here. Nice. And then walking towards your stick. All right, so just about hip distance, maybe a little bit wider. We're going to move towards a squat. So you got your stick, maybe move it in a little bit closer towards you. Toes pointed maybe slightly out or just kind of in a natural place where the direction of where your knees are going to go if you start to come down. So you're not necessarily coming straight down because your hips are coming back behind you, but you have that for support, and you may even push it away from you a little bit. Push down into the feet, hips come forward as you come up towards your stick. So just take your time with that. So it's your first kind of time moving into this shape today. Just observe as you pull back, long spine, maybe get a little deeper. And you can use that strength in the arms to push into the pole, but not forgetting about the strength of the legs and this pushing here. So just take a moment and kind of observe as you do this. Hips back, hips back. Can you kind of find this relationship between the arms doing a little bit of that help and the legs pressing down? Just soft breath. All right, coming up. Take your stick now, it's out in front of you. Any height can be above you, out in front of you. Can you find that same shape, move down into it? How does it feel now that you don't have this connection with the stick down into the space beneath you? Come up to standing. Do that a few times, just notice. How does it feel? Different? Same? Nice strong press into those heels. Weight in the four corners of your feet. Sending the hips slightly forward as you come up. Nice. If you have the stick out in front of you, can you bring it up overhead? How does this change the relationship to what's happening in your low body? Maybe you need to adjust the feet. How's the depth? Maybe it's not quite as far. Notice that you're not rounding. Let's try to stay long through your spine. Just thinking about your alignment, what supports you. Always an option to just bring the stick back down towards the ground. Nice. Release that. Okay, so stepping a little bit wider this time. Same thing, although I'd like you to have your toes pointed out probably a little bit wider. But again, just check in that your knees go in the direction of your toes as you come down. Again, use the stick to support you, a little bit of extra kind of contact with the earth as you come down. Squeeze the legs as you come up, pressing down towards the earth. Nice tall spine here. Just feel your relationship between your arms, this support that you have of this stick, and the support that you have of the earth beneath your feet. Next, coming up. I'm going to do that same exploration, so arms out in front of you, maybe a little bit higher, but somewhere out in front, and lowering yourself down. Coming down, pressing up. How does this feel without sort of that contact or the support? And if it feels like you need that assistance or that contact, just bring it back. Can you, when you pull apart through the hands, still the sense of drawing the shoulders back, the shoulder blades engaged. Nice. Arms up overhead. Same thing. Coming down, knees out. So still staying connected to big toe mounted to heels and coming up. How does this change the length of your spine, the depth of your movement, maybe even your breath? Nice, and release that. Walk your feet back in. Bring the stick behind you for a moment. Palms facing forward, a little bit wider than your hips. Take a moment, draw the shoulders back, lifting up through the knuckles. Nice tall spine here. So again, not this sense of back bending, so draw the rib cage in, lengthen up, lots of space in the low back. And then send the knuckles towards your body. Knuckles away from your body. So doing this just a few times. Nice. And then as you send the knuckles away from you, bend your knees, hinge at your hips, pull them back. Come into a forward fold. If the stick is not feeling great or the arms overhead do not feel great, let that go. Maybe move around a little, explore. So we're in a forward fold. You can do this with or without the arms overhead, with or without the stick. Let your head relax. Root into feet, bend your knees, come on up to standing. And then release from that. Just kind of shake it out a little bit through the arms. Okay, so coming to standing now again, let's have this in your right hand, kind of somewhere in the middle-ish of your feet and your body out in front of you. Okay, so having this in your right hand, we're going to lift the right knee. All right, so bringing this up, and you get a sense of length and rootedness through that foot that you're standing on. All right, and then squeezing this knee up towards you as much as it's available to do so. Nice, and then lowering that down. We'll switch into your left hand, root into your right foot, lifting your left knee. Find your rootedness, find your ground beneath you, find your length, and then a squeeze of drawing your knee in towards your body without compromising the length of your spine. Just a little bit of a squeeze there. And then lower that down. All right, take your stick now, have it out in front of you. You can always come back to where we just were, or you can move along here with the arms out in front, ground into left foot, right knee lifts. Again, squeeze that knee up towards your body as you lengthen up through your spine and root down through your standing foot. And then drop that down. Root into right foot, left foot comes up, knee comes up, squeezing that in towards your body. So this is flexion of our hip. Squeezing that up, notice how it feels maybe a little different without the stick in the ground if you have lifted that up in front of you. And then drop that down. Nice, just kind of wiggle that out a little. All right, we're going to take the stick into your left hand and you're going to balance on your left foot. Bringing the right knee up again. All right, then send that knee out to the side. So you're going to send this out. Notice what's happening in the structure of your pelvis here. So nothing's really changed. It's just the movement of the leg bone. So hips are still fairly parallel, and drawing this knee up towards you as much as that's comfortable. And then starting to turn your knee inward as your heel lifts up behind you. Noticing that you're not compromising your length. Doesn't matter if your leg's down here, maybe that's where it is. All right, bring it back through center. And then drop your knee out as your foot comes towards your stick. Nice and tall here. Still finding that flexion of your hip, length to your spine, rootedness, what's happening in your standing foot. And then bring that down. Nice, wiggle it out. Shake, shake, shake. All right, stick comes into the right hand, balancing on the right foot. Left knee comes up, long through your spine. Relax your shoulders. Send that out towards your side. Maybe a little more flexion if that doesn't compromise the length to your spine. Then starting to turn your knee in and your foot comes out. This can be done down here, up here with a little more flexion. Squeeze at the hip, nice and tall. And release that, bring it in front of you. Bring foot towards your stick as your knee comes out. Nice and tall. Not collapsing in the low back. Breathing here. Nice. And then release that. All right, just a lunge here. So taking the stick in front of you, step your right foot back behind you. So your toes are tucked under, your heel is lifted. All right, you're not standing on a tightrope. So there's some space between your legs. And let's think about that hip extension that we were working with last week, where you can notice that your foot's pressed back behind you. Maybe there's a little bend in your knees because there's the pubic bone and the tailbone are going straight down. So there's this like stability in the pelvis below your hips. Bending in front of that front knee and then sending that heel back behind you and just playing around with your hip extension here. So not much moves with your pelvis. You're just pressing back through that heel. Nice. And then we'll lengthen the spine forward into the pole. So allow yourself to kind of similar stretch that we had earlier. The head between the arms, long spine. Front knee is bent, back knee is long. Your pelvis can tilt this time. Just feeling into this long, strong length. Nice, and then coming back up. Perhaps the stick can come out in front of us this time. Reaching forward, reaching back through the heel, nice long spine. And then bend that back knee slightly as you lift arms up overhead and kind of feeling back into that neutral pelvis. And then come forward as you allow your pelvis to tilt. Reaching forward. Stick can always come back down to the ground, bending that back knee, arms up overhead. One more time. Lengthen and reach, bending into that front knee. And then pelvis comes to neutral. And release the arms. And step your right foot forward. And just shaking that out. All right, left foot's back this time. So find the stick that supports you here. So you find your footing, bending into that front knee, and then find that neutral pelvis where everything's kind of rooted down. It's not tucked under, but it's not extending back behind you. Maybe a little bend in that back knee. And then as you kind of hold your stick here, can you move to hip extension? So pelvis stays where it is, the leg presses back, the heel reaches back. Nice. And then allow your pelvis to tilt as you move deeper into that lunge. Reach back through the back heel. Let your arms reach forward. This is where I hope your stick doesn't slip on the floor. Take a breath into the length of your spine and the sides of your body. Nice, come up. All right, bend down, kind of find neutral pelvis. Perhaps we can lift the stick again. Reach forward as you allow your pelvis to tilt. Reach back through that back heel, bend into that front knee. Come on up as you find your neutral pelvis. Maybe a little hip extension at the back. Lengthen forward. Come on up. One more time. And come on back up. And then release from that. Stepping forward. All right, take a moment. Just say goodbye to our awesome tool. And just kind of shake it out a little here. So that was pretty confined and maybe a little tense, so it's always kind of nice just to shake out some of the sensations that maybe feelings, emotions, thoughts about that. Just give yourself a little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Maybe it's a really big wiggle. Just do what you need to. All right, and then plant down through your feet. Take a full breath in, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale down, hands through heart center. Let's do 2 more like that. Nice full breath in, reach all the way up. Maybe your chest lifts up towards the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Last one, full breath in, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And then release from here. I'm going to get you to move back into that same shape where you were when we began. So maybe that's down onto the floor into Shavasana. Maybe you were sitting. But if you can, if it feels available still in your body to just assume the same shape, can you go there? And just witness if the landing feels any different. And can you, with your eyes open, just gently gaze around your space. You may even move your head and neck. Just let your breath soften here in and out of your nostrils. And just allow your head to settle into a comfortable place, and then gaze off and see how far the eyes can see. And just observe the space around you or what's off in the distance. As you feel into the sensation of your body landing, your body breathing. Can you invite a little kind of smoothing out to the breath? And as your eyes witness the space off in the distance or the place around you, just notice, how does that relate to your body landing right now? Your body breathing. And maybe you close your eyes now. Did you feel that slight shift? Does this bring you a little more intimately aware of how your bones have settled, how your muscles relax? Or maybe this doesn't feel quite so comfortable and the eyes can always come back open. Just feel the gentle movement of your breath. Its relationship to the softness in your belly, to the bones and the structure of your body. How does your breath relate to your muscles and to your blood that swims through all of it? How does your breath relate to the space beneath you. You feel into that expansion, to the fullness, to the aliveness, and to the settling in to the emptiness, to the quiet. And then wherever you are, just take one hand to your heart center, one hand to your belly. Open your eyes. Just take a glance around. Just feel your breath in your hands. And maybe just a quiet whisper to yourself. This is my body. Feel all the points of contact that your body's making with the surface. Feel how gravity captures you. And you're welcome to stay here for another few moments or as long as you wish, or move through some of that again. And thank you all so much for joining me and for sharing your practice. And may you carry some of that embodied presence with you into your next move, your next moment of your day. Thank you. Namaste.